الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم إلا الذين تابوا من قبل أن تقدروا عليهم فاعلموا أن الله غفور رحيم صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. So this discussion that we started yesterday about hudud, qisas and ta'zirat. Hudud are those where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has against a crime considered his right to be higher, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed a punishment based on his rights. And those are five, like we counted yesterday, that adultery or fornication, which is zina, or false accusation of this act, or theft, robbery, and drinking alcohol. The second tier is qisas, which is in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed punishment based on the right of a human being, haqqul abd. And in those punishments, a similar bodily injury, the person who is affected or their heirs are allowed to inflict a similar bodily injury over the criminal. In qisas, if the person who is affected, the victim, lets go and forgives, then the punishment is taken away. But hudud are very different. So if somebody has committed an act of shame and the person with which they committed, they had given consent to that act, even then the state will punish the offender. Similarly, if somebody has committed theft or robbery and they return the money that they looted, and the person who was affected or the party who was affected lets go and forgives, even then the state is required by the Sharia to enforce and execute that punishment. And it is such a severe thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do not even like to hear any arguments against it. So as exemplified by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the matters of had, these crimes that we counted, no recommendation was accepted, even the listening or let alone accepting even the listening of a recommendation in this regard is a sin and haram. So therefore, in countries where Islamic law is there, it is very particular that hudud laws are preserved, and this confusion should be taken away that hudud laws and hudud punishments cannot be forgiven if the party who is affected lets go and forgives. Anyway, now the four punishments about robbery that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the ayah that we decided today as well. The first tier, the first highest level is that the offender loots money and also kills the victim. In that case, the offender will be crucified. If they only take the life of the victim but are not able to loot any money, they will be killed. But not as a matter of only qisas, but as a matter of qisas, and the state will also execute this punishment. So if it was only qisas, then the affected person, their heirs may have forgiven. But even if they forgive, the state will have to, if the intention was to plunder, then the state will execute the punishment of death, even if the person affected, their heirs, let go of they forgive. The third would be that they showed power, the offender, and used that power or force to only loot some money but did not kill the victim. In that case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that تُقَطَّعَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَأَرْجُلُهُمْ مِنْ خِلَافٍ, right hand and left foot would be cut off. And this will again be executed as a matter of state, on the level of state. أَوْ يُنْفَوْا مِنَ الْأَرْضِ, this is the lightest punishment, which is before they are caught, but they had planned and did not do, neither killed nor looted any money, but they were caught after they had planned to do so. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, Imam Azam, has based his fatwa in this regard on the saying of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, the example of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, that such people will be imprisoned for life. Some other ulama and some Sahaba have went with the view that they should only be removed from that place, but Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu had said, that was of the view that removing these people from that place would give them an opportunity to commit a crime of certain similar nature elsewhere. So the punishment is that they should be imprisoned. Now when there's such severe punishments mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also devised a very stringent criteria, a very meticulous criteria for proof of these crimes. So for example, the proof of the shameful act of zina, it will be proven by 4 people who would have witnessed the act, which is kind of hard to bring forth. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has balanced out the severe punishment with the burden of proof, that to bring the full proof is pretty difficult. This is a balancing act from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in that, if, for example, somebody is accused of having committed the shameful act of zina, and the requirement of Sharia is that 4 people who have actually seen the act happen come forth and give testimony, and their testimony should be reliable. They should be truthful people, known as truthful people. They should have sound memory. They should not have any interests on either side. So if such a case happens, and the 3 people of such nature are able to come and testify against the court, but the 4th person is not available, then had will not be executed, had will not be performed. So the full punishment will not be given, but it will convert into a ta'zir. It will convert into a ta'zir, where the Islamic judge or qadi will have their decision. So the had, which is rajam, stoning to death, will not be executed, but the qazi, the Islamic judge, will assess the situation and will have full right to give the punishment that he considers appropriate in that situation. Did that make sense? Okay. So had is when the full proof is there, as prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the last of the relating to theft and robbery, in the last condition where somebody had planned it and they were arrested, then their tawbah will not be considered in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive them in the hereafter, and that is fine, but they will still be arrested and imprisoned for life. But the next ayah says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ تَابُوا مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَقْدِرُوا عَلَيْهِمْ. If those people had make a tawbah and give up their life and their plan of committing that theft or plundering before they are even arrested, before you overpower them, مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَقْدِرُوا عَلَيْهِمْ فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Then be sure that Allah is most forgiving, the most merciful. So that means that these people then will be allowed. So they had only planned something, and before they executed, and before they were forced by the government, directly or indirectly, or before they were arrested even, they made tawbah by themselves on their own. Then these people will not be, no punishment will be executed upon them, and these people will be free. And this is proven from this is how the Sahaba, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh, interpreted it, and this is how they did things. That there was some people who planned a plundering, but before they were caught, they made a tawbah and gave up their life and came to Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh and expressed their tawbah and regret over what they had planned. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh just let them free. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant understanding of the Quran and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the words of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and grant us an action upon it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن الذي أهلك وخاصتك. صلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.